Calaroga Shark Media.
Hello, a lot of feisty stuff today, which is how I like it. Hi, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily common news. Quick housekeeping. So if you listen every day, you know normally the A block I have like the more newsy things, and then the after the commercial I get a little far afield. Today, a lot of stuff that's normally in A I moved to B because A is only going to be feisty stuff and big, huge news, which starts with Katt Williams. His special on Netflix, May 4th, will be live on Netflix. It is called Woke Folk. Saturday, May 4th, 10 p.m. Eastern. Now, I'm supposed to be in Cleveland on May 4th, and I would be driving back at 10 p.m. So if you're in Cleveland and you think I'm showing up, I got news for you. I'm watching Katt Williams. No, I'll be there. Somebody in Cleveland just freaked the hell out. I'm coming. Relax. So no trailer. Well, there is a trailer there, but it's naughty, so I'm not going to share it with you. The very next night, Sunday, May 5th at 8 Eastern, the roast of Tom Brady. Here's a clip.
The man, the arena, the roast of Tom Brady, live on Netflix. No helmets, no mercy, no Brady rule.
No problem.
The greatest roast of all time, Tom Brady, live, hosted by me, Kevin Hart, with a lineup of surprise guests.
We're coming for you, pretty boy.
I'm unroastable. Let's go.
Now, if you were to watch that clip, which you cannot do here because this is an audio podcast, there is no visual component. To me, it looks like an AI-generated Tom Brady visually, but that seems to be his voice. Anyway, Tom Brady, the greatest roast of all time, May 5th, 8 p.m. Eastern on Netflix. It's unclear who is participating yet other than Kevin Hart and Jeff Ross. Guys, check the calendar. How is this thing not booked yet, or are you just not telling us? I would hope somebody like Bill Burr, right, Boston comedian, you'd hope somebody like that's going to be part of this, but we'll see. All right, let's move on to the feisty section. Last Friday, 15 audience members disrupted Chelsea Handler's show. They were making pro-Palestine comments. According to a spokesperson for the Richmond Police Department, about 15 people in the audience showed up at the 7 o'clock show, and they disrupted the show with comments described as pro-Palestine. Additional officers were requested at the theater just before 8:30 p.m., Those officers asked the group to leave. One of the 15 refused to leave, according to police. That person was then arrested on charges of disorderly conduct and removed from the theater. Chelsea Handler, used to date Joe Coy, and Joe once hosted the Golden... I'm not doing it. You want me to do it? I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. The aforementioned Kevin Hart was on 60 Minutes, interviewed by Anderson Cooper. Anderson Cooper noted that GQ has reported Kevin Hart's height as 5'5". The LA Times has it at 5'4". And Cooper said in some other place said you were 5'2". Hart joked, well, that place is BS. GQ finally got it right. I'm 5'5", like with a shoe on, like a sneaker. Now, if I put a boot on, I can get to 5'5.5". Kevin explained why he incorporates short jokes into his routine. He says, it's talking about the things that you aren't afraid to laugh about yourself. I'm really confident the laugh that I'm getting, you're not laughing necessarily at me as if I'm a joke. You're laughing at the experience. I'm giving you an experience through a story that's relatable, and more importantly, I'm saying things that other people just don't have the heart to say. Exactly. The joke isn't, haha, Kevin Hart's short. It's just a generic short joke, like a Biden old joke is just a generic old joke, and Biden is the mechanism to get us there. Anderson Cooper asked Kevin Hart if he's a billionaire, and the answer, none of your business. So you're trying to get me robbed? I think the better side to what I've done is to create what can become the new norm for other people in the business of funny, for other people in the business of entertainment, right? Not just being part of the business, but learning and understanding how to be the business. Cooper asked Kevin Hart about the controversy a few years ago. You remember Kevin was supposed to host the Oscars, but was forced to step down when some homophobic comments that he had made in social media and in his act had surfaced. One of those comments, quoting Kevin Hart here, I'm not homophobic. I have nothing against gay people. Be happy. Do what you want to. But me, as a heterosexual male, if I can prevent my son from being gay, I will. Kevin Hart told Anderson Cooper that Wanda Sykes helped him realize the impact of his words. Hart told Cooper, later on, the understanding came from the best light bulb ever. Wanda Sykes said, there's people that are being hurt today because of comments like the ones you made then. And there's people that are saying it's okay to make those comments today based off what you did. It was presented to me in a way where I couldn't ignore that. In those moments of despair, great understanding and education can come out of it if you're given the opportunity. None of that seems to include the word sorry, but that's between Kevin and Anderson. In Australia, comedian Arj Barker reportedly kicked out a breastfeeding mother from his show. Yeah, and the baby, too. would be weird if he kicked out the breastfeeding mother and left the baby there for the rest of the show. That would be probably would be a worse story. No, he kicked out the breastfeeding mother and her newborn baby. This at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. The 7-month-old baby made a few gurgling sounds. The mom, Trish, told one of the radio stations, "I was sitting there and she gurgled a bit, the equivalent if someone was coughing." According to the mom, Barker stopped and acknowledged the baby before he cracked a few jokes about the situation. Mom says at the end of the skit of a little baby in the room, he said, "I speak baby," and she said, "Take me outside." At that point, I was like, I don't think he's joking about that. Barker approached the mom for a second time due to the disturbance. The mom said, "I was actually breastfeeding when he came and stood in front of me, and he was basically telling me to leave. People were laughing, and I don't think he was joking. So I said to him, 'Do you actually want me to leave?' And he said, 'Yes, I do.' A group of 10 or 12 people, including one man, walked out of the 863-seat auditorium over the humiliated mother's departure. A relative of the mom went on Twitter and said, 'Thanks to the countless women and one grandfather who left in protest.'" Are they countless? Well, I guess they are because we don't know if it's 10 or 12. Let's see. It's either 9, 10, or 11 women. Not quite countless, but I digress. "Thanks to the countless women and one grandfather who left in protest. Atrocious. You're in City of Melbourne at an international comedy festival. Have an ounce of respect. A woman has purchased a ticket for a night out with her sister and a friend to laugh and enjoy herself, and you badger her and encourage her to leave and get a refund." The mom said she didn't face an issue when she brought her baby to see Dave Hughes. Barker, in a statement, this is great, said, "The show is strictly age 15 plus, as clearly stated on the ticket site." I don't know if he was yelling like I am, but it's funnier this way. "This show is strictly age 15 plus, as clearly stated on the ticket site. She had an infant with her. The baby was disrupting my performance. On behalf of the other 700 people who paid to see the gig, I politely told her the baby couldn't stay. She thought I was kidding, which made the exchange a bit awkward. I feel bad about the whole situation, and stated this on the night more than once. I offered her a refund. Theater staff should not have seated a baby in my audience in the first place." All right, this next one, spoilers, is going to go sideways and kind of annoyed me. From Vulture, Joel Kim Booster got to experience the power of the thumbs down. This on 420. He was headlining the Kennedy Center as part of Asian AF, an Asian American variety show. Okay, we got the setup here. Now, this is where I get annoyed. While performing, Joel Kim Booster was heckled by an audience member who expressed his distaste by throwing out the thumbs down. A photo of the interaction was posted on Twitter that night, and the people on Twitter had fun with it. The photo told the story, says Vulture, with Booster appearing to be mid-fight with the heckler. Booster tweeted in response that night, "The fact that I have to deal with this crap at the Kennedy Center of all places, this is not community." All right, let's take a time out. So we're all outraged, right? Who is this jerk disrupting Joel Kim Booster's show at the Kennedy Center of all places? That's ridiculous. But wait, and this is where I don't want to encourage anyone, but if you turn on Joel Kim Booster now, I wouldn't be like, "Oh, I can't believe you turned on Joel Kim Booster. That's not cool." You see, the reality of the situation, according to Vulture, was much different. A video of the interaction surfaced the next day on April 21st, revealing it had been staged by Booster himself. It was crowd work. Booster says on stage, "I need someone in the front to stand up and pretend like you're a heckler and we're in a fight." Booster then apparently tried out a few outrage poses. That's lame, dude. Lame. And I've been at shows where there's plants in the audience to move stuff around, but if you do that during your show, like, I don't know if he would do this, but Dan Bublitz Jr., friend of the show, if I go to Dan's show and he goes, "Hey, do me a favor, get up and say, I'm ugly just so I can slam you back." I've been at shows where that sort of thing happens. But if you then take that fake clip and put it on social media and act like this is a thing that actually happened, that's lame. More feistiness. Comedian Elaine Boozler. Remember Elaine Boozler? When's the last time you heard that name? Anyway, she says she was handcuffed and nearly thrown in the slammer, is the word being used, after showing up to the Dodger game on Sunday. She said she went there to see Dodgers versus Mets, but was stopped by, in her opinion, a power-hungry stadium security guard over her baseball-themed purse. If you've been to a baseball game in the last decade, yeah, I agree. There are power-hungry stadium security people. I don't go to games anymore. I'm a Mets fan. You're not allowed to bring a computer. Dude, I work in New York City. I bring a laptop everywhere. And it's not like there's a good system for I showed up at the stadium and I have a laptop here once you go to bag check or something. Nope, you can't bring in a bag. So I just don't go to the games. Boozler said she was refused entry because the item didn't meet the venue's clear bag policy. She was told she'd give the ticket back to her car, throw it away. I mean, they're taking it back to your car is not the worst thing. Now, here in New York City, if I went to a Mets game, I would take the subway from my job in Manhattan. There is no car. Boozler didn't like this idea. She felt she should get special treatment after all the free work she's done for the team over the years, like singing the national anthem and participating in their celebrity softball games. She raised a stink. She was told she'd be arrested if she didn't leave, and she replied, "Fine, arrest me." Boozler said she was cuffed and taken to the Dodgers Stadium offices to be formally charged for trespassing. As she waited 2 hours to learn her fate, she made jokes that didn't land well with the Dodgers, police, Gestapo, whatever they were. Gestapo might be a little bit of a strong word there, Johnny Mac. Why don't you relax? Okay. Boozler said the officers were nice throughout the process, which she chalked up to white privilege. Boozler said she was told she wouldn't have to go to jail if she left the stadium, which she agreed to do. She called a ride. All right, so now we know she didn't have a car, and got out of there. Boozler has called for the security guard to be fired. I wrote a couple Substacks. The Substack is free. The link is in the show notes. What's the Substack, Johnny Mac? It's a blog of sorts. I pontificate about the media. Mondays was all just honestly promoting the podcast company. Today's is about streaming shows on Netflix, etc., and a little bit about Taylor Swift. Speaking about Taylor Swift, I listened to her new album over the weekend. Follow Taylor Swift Today, wherever you get your podcast. They've been covering all the various deep dives on the secret messages. Now, I have a theory about the song Who's Afraid of Little Old Maid. You like that one? That one stuck in my head. I think it's about Joe Coy. You know why? One time, Joe Coy hosted the Golden Globe, but I'm not going there. You guys don't want me to do the joke? I'm not going to do the joke. I'm not doing it. I had insomnia the other night and listened to a lot of podcasts. I really enjoyed Joe Rogan with Tucker Carlson. You thought I was going to say Neil Brennan. No, with Tucker Carlson. Now, I am not a Tucker Carlson fan. I find Tucker Carlson to be the kind of guy that would show up in Springfield and try and sell them a monorail. He seems like that kind of person to me. Never met him, but that's how he comes across. Not a fan. But when I have insomnia, I like things that aren't loud. And Joe and Tucker had a nice, reasoned conversation. They talked about UFOs. I found it interesting. They talked about the homeless problem in Los Angeles, and I thought some great points were made by both gentlemen. Then they got into, what's his name, the conspiracy guy, Alex Jones, and I was like, not really down with this section here, but it was a good listen. I haven't gotten to Neil Brennan yet. And at one point, I forgot to pull it for today. Maybe I'll pull it for tomorrow. Rogan started talking about joke thieves. I wrote a note to myself. I'll pull that for tomorrow. I'll put it in the notes to remind me to do that. I'm behind on my Tim Dillon podcast listening, but the folks at Outkick said that Dillon made fun of Disney adults, quoting Tim Dillon via Outkick. Apparently, Tim Dillon said, all the food in Disney World is bad. Like everything at Disney, it's bad. The rides aren't even good. Nothing's good. The reason you think it's good is because you're stupid. That's why you think it's good. Even if you have children, you should be rolling your eyes. Your kid should be happy. You should take a few photos. I'm not a heartless person. The kid should be happy. The Mickey Mouse hugs your son or daughter, your non-binary child, and you take a photo of them and you're happy. Well, that should last a few minutes, and then you should go, it's hot, it's lines, gross, immediately. If anyone's like, this is the most magical place in the world, anyone who says that, I want so far away from me. I also checked out whatever the new Lonely Island recap podcast with Seth Meyers was. It's not good. I tried to listen to the episode of Lazy Sunday. Candidly, Seth's not good at it. The Lonely Island guys might be great. Seth is not good at hosting a podcast, so I bailed on that and unfollowed it. Conan O'Brien apparently has Jimmy Carr. I'm guessing that because Conan tweeted, at Jimmy Carr is one of the sharpest, quickest minds working in comedy today, so it was a pleasure to dig down deep in the mechanics of how a joke works and why the audience is a genius, and then Conan shared a link. So that makes me think Jimmy Carr's on Conan's podcast, but I have not actually verified that with my own thumb yet. We'll keep an eye on this next one. George Lopez's show over the weekend at Eagle Mountain Casino canceled due to a medical emergency. I tried to Google a bit, couldn't find out anymore. I hope you're doing okay, George. Fern Brady's new special is out on Netflix. Here's a clip.
I love walking around at night after my gigs. I like to try and get my steps in. But if you're a woman who likes walking at night, I feel like every evening walk is tainted by thoughts of your own murder. And it really gets in the way of the de-stressing part. I feel like you guys are like, no, we don't think like that all the time. We just are normal. Okay. Number one, there's two reasons I feel frightened a lot when I'm walking around at night. Number one, I have a father who is unnaturally preoccupied with thoughts of my murder. I know that parents worry a lot, but hear me out. Anytime I phone my dad on a walk, the first thing he says to me is, don't get murdered! And I'm like, dream bigger, Dad. And women in the audience, if you get nervous walking around at night, here's a fact I comfort myself with, and I'm always trying to comfort Dad with it, and he's never comforted by it. Statistically, you're so much more likely to be killed by the guy you came to the gig with tonight, so if anything, get your wee coat and shoes on, get out the door, get those steps in.
That is fun. The jokes are funny, but a long way to go for those jokes. Tighten it up a little bit. From Fox News, your home for comedy news, far-left comedian and actor Michael Rapaport delivered a stern message to anti-Israel college protesters in a social media post, warning them they would help deliver former President Trump the election. In a video, Rapaport said, you know what's going to be great? When D-stained Donald Trump. Now, I'm trying to figure out what D-stained would even be. D dash dash dash. I mean, I have a guess of a 4-letter word that starts with D, but what does that even mean? What is D-stain? Am I missing something? When D-stained Donald Trump gets elected, and I ain't saying voting for him, but when he does win, and he's going to win, the screaming and yelling that you F-word, P-word, A-word, blow word, miserable mother F-word on college campuses are doing now, Michael, chillax, dude. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words out of 7 got bleeped. You need to chill. He said, when the screaming and yelling that you people on college campuses are doing now, the screaming that you're doing at Jews about free Palestine, the screaming that you're doing at Zionists is nothing compared to the screaming you're going to be doing come November when D-stained Donald Trump wins presidency because of you. That is Michael Rapaport via Fox News. Okay. Sources tell the Hollywood Reporter that this Office reboot thing is actually happening. Supposedly, they've cast 2 members of the ensemble comedy. One of them is Sabrina Impacciatori. We know her from The White Lotus. And Domhnall Gleeson from The Rise of Skywalker. He's General Hux, isn't he? Yeah, the redhead guy, that's General Hux, the wimpy guy. Well, he'll be in the new office. It's unclear where this will air. It's unclear when it will air. But it's not like we're back at Dunder Mifflin. It's a different office, which is the way to do it. You know, that way, I don't know, if you set it in Scranton and you happen to go to Kevin's bar, you can do that kind of nonsense, but it should be its own thing. Oh my goodness, I just looked at the raw time. All right, I'm dropping the final story. We're done. I gotta go. There's a lot of content for not playing 85 clips out of the Melbourne Comedy Festival. Okay, I'll meet you back here tomorrow. How do I lock out? I can't remember. I'm frenzied today. What do I usually say here? See you tomorrow? I guess I just say see you tomorrow. All right, see you tomorrow.